Okay, welcome everybody. Good evening. Good morning.
Hi.
Hi. Tonight is cooking with Sid and Vicky. She's behind me there, the princess out of her kitchen. Some information about Zoom. Hope everybody knows how it works. I just put something in the chat box. If you have a question, capital Q, please, so we can all know what the question is. If you think there's something wrong with your audio, it's probably my accent. So don't worry. You don't have to put on your videos if you don't want. But have a look if it works. And you can always put questions in there and use reactions. If you go to reactions, you can see there are claps, but you can also ask us to go faster if we think we are too slow. I put in some, if you like those events we are running, there is a form you can fill in and give us some more information.
Faster, slower. Oh, yes, got you. Yeah.
Okay, I have to mute somebody because I think better if I speak. So what happens if you fill that form in? I will look in it. Like somebody asked me if I could do something about trips and COVID. So hopefully that will be run by British Canoeing and me in a couple of weeks. Also, we have next week, Tuesday, on the 9th, we do some mental health and safeguarding again. And hopefully British Canoeing is available to help us with it. And on the Sunday, 14 March, we have a evening talk with Karen Knight and Bob Foot. And it is so long away because Bob Foot will have an operation this Sunday on his shoulder. Again, cooking is a very massive, big thing, and everybody has his own expertise. Some people want to go backpacking light, other have four-wheel drives. So a Dutch oven of cast iron in a backpacker is maybe not what we want. However, in a four-wheel drive, or if you're a porter, so you can share with people the weight, it's perfectly right to do. So Sid and I were actually thinking, and Vicky as well, that maybe on the Sunday we can go in depth and make a little diary where say, okay, 2 o'clock we start with everybody, 3 o'clock we go in depth about coffee making or whatever, and you can then log in or move out. We could use breakout rooms, however, with recordings, I don't know if that works. So anyway, if you have any questions, let us know. And Sid, I'll leave it up to you now.
Okay, thanks, Mark. Yeah. Hi, I'm Sid. For those of you who know me, I've been doing this for about 35 years now as an open boater. We're never short of space, and we paddle a 16-foot Dagger Legend or a Bell Northwind, so we've always got lots of room. And I like to eat. I like food. The new me looks very different to the old me. I did used to have my own ballast, but I've shed most of that. So I'm coming at it from that perspective. So my first heading was location. For me, wilderness trips are what I really enjoy, and being in the outdoors with friends and food. So the first thing really then is where to build my fire. When we started doing this, there wasn't all the kit that there is now. So our fire pit was essentially just 2 roasting tins, one turned upside down on the floor and another one on top of it with our coals and things in. However, things have evolved a lot since then. I know Mark, Jan and Vicky have got a lot more stuff. Vicky, have you got anything to show people in the fire pit range? Can Vicky hear me? Okay, I'll wait for them to come back to me. When we go out into the wilderness, we tend to use charcoal. You can't reliably get a source of wood, so we always take charcoal. Now we tend to wrap it up in poo bags because it's portioned out then, and we use the BDH to keep all of our charcoal in. We will use wood if we can find wood and it's suitable quality. Oh, now Vicky's showing you stuff that they've got. Shall I hand over to you for a second, Vicky?
Okay, we have several foldables as well. There's a very small one actually for as a barbecue, £15, £12. It go outdoors, works fine. This is a foldable 10 TP one, and that's the one they use in the 10 TP. You can take it away with you. So this is actually the whole thing. As you can see, we put it on a frame for leave no trace, no traces on the grass and everything, because farmers doesn't like it, campers doesn't like it, and you can use it with a tripod if you want. And of course, you can have everything you like. We also use a blanket. Can you see this?
It's a fire blanket.
It's a fire blanket, you know, what you have in your kitchen, or at least you should have. We don't have it anymore now, because we use it under our fire to also protect the grass and everything. Yeah?
Yeah. Yep, that's great, thank you. Yeah, we also we've got very small collapsible stoves that we use. I've got one about that big and one about that big that a friend made, but you can buy them now and you can put twigs and things in and they work really effectively too. In terms of equipment, I do tend to use Dutch ovens a lot. This is our smallest one. Okay, so it's a Lodge 8-inch. It's good enough for two. It's got the little legs on the bottom, and as you can see, they stack up on top of each other. So if you're cooking a meal for a 6 or 8, you're using all the coals quite effectively. Now, there's a method to distributing the briquettes. We've put a PowerPoint together and we'll put it on the website that shows you the briquette distribution. There's a bit of maths involved in that, but it works really well. In the garden in the summer, we've been using just wood, and you put wood on top to get top heat for baking and roasting, and heat underneath if you want to do frying, and a small amount of heat underneath as well as on top if you want to do the baking and the roasting. So during lockdown, we were using it effectively to cook loads of meals. Mark, Jan and Vicky have also got quite a large stash of Dutch ovens.
Yeah.
And
we have cast irons, but we also have a aluminium one from GSI, aluminium one. It's way lighter. We also use a South African one from cast iron. It's the Potty, or the Pottico, whatever they call it in South Africa. It's 2 men. That's why the 2 rims are there. And of course, what people need to know about Dutch ovens is, as you maybe said already, Sid, you also have deep ones.
Yeah.
This is a deeper one than the 12 over there. And again, with legs or without legs. And then there's another one, it's the Buduri from Australia. It's also a kind of a Dutch oven, only that's steel. So it is basically, it doesn't break when you drop it on the floor. What is the possibility with cast iron and cast aluminium? If you drop it, it can break. I'm not sure which camera I have to look now, actually. It's interesting. Yeah, all right, Sid.
okay, thank you. So we have various tools and things that we use with the Dutch ovens. So this is the lid lifter. So you can lift the lid off and you can lift the Dutch oven with it. And then I've got things to put the lid on, because obviously you don't want to put the lid down on the ground. So a small tripod and thing, and you can put the lid safely down on the ground without getting fire all over the place. Now, one of the good things about Dutch ovens is the lid can also be used as a pan in its own right, so you can sit that on the coals and use it as a frying pan. So we've also got frying pans that will go straight onto the fire. We've also got a double skillet. We tend to use this more on the gas stove, but we have used it on the an open fire. They clip together, and again you can use it like a roasting tin. And you flip it over, that's the handles inside making a noise. And then I've also got a really dinky pressure cooker. So if you're using dehydrated food and you've forgotten to rehydrate it during the day, you can use that to rehydrate your food really effectively and quickly. Along the way, you pick up lots of useful things that people think are a really good idea as a present. So this is a campfire toaster oven. We used it once to try it. It just took far too long, but it's a nice idea. It'll keep the kids amused for an hour. So when we're going away, I've got a soft-sided cooler. So I would make the first night's meal and freeze it and take it frozen and stored in there. Freeze as much as I can, keep it in there. And then when this is empty, of course, it folds down and goes into a barrel. This came from the States, but I'm pretty sure that you can get them very similar to that in this country now.
Okay. Right. Maybe, Vicky, can I use the iPad, because there's a picture I want to show about a pressure cooker.
So Terry also asked, do you use briquettes?
More often than not, we use briquettes, but we do use ordinary lump wood as well. All summer we've used just wood, but briquettes give you a much more achievable heat. Okay, Mark-Jan?
So this is a new pot I found out recently about a pressure cooker from cast aluminium, what you can use in fire. And then this one from GSI is a pressure cooker you can't use on open fire. At least they don't recommend it, but it's very good if you want to save on your fuel, your canisters, you still want to make a stew or dehydrated food, as you said. So we'll post that on Facebook as well.
Yes, this one came from Lakeland many years ago. It's called a Butterfly Elite, but I'll take a picture of it and let you see it.
Do you have your screen share? You can use your presentation if that's what you want.
Yeah, do I know how to do that? Screen share. Oh, no, I don't know what I've done.
Don't worry.
How do I get rid of it?
Stop screen share.
Do I have to go back to Zoom? Yeah. Yeah, I'm back. No, I don't know how to do that. Sorry.
We're all in together.
Yes. When we're transporting the Dutch ovens, you can buy bags and things to transport them in, but Warburton's being Warburton's, Paul made these because he's got an industrial sewing machine. So we just used foam on the bottom with cutouts for the feet, padded sides, and a lid that goes on top with a drawstring and handles, because obviously they're going to get quite dirty and you don't want the dirt all over the place. So we use those to transport the Dutch oven in. Have you got any more you want to add about equipment, Mark, Jan and Vicky?
Yeah, we can add some other pens we have. Which camera are we using? You use the iPad?
Yeah, it's easiest to show now. I can point you in the right direction then.
Why can I not see you now anymore? I can go spotlight. Okay.
Well, so
Some of the pots you can use is the Billy kettle, for example. They are not really made for cooking, so you have to be careful, but you can do a lot of it. They can be on the fire, and they're quite handy to do simple things, and they come in all kinds of sizes. A other interesting fire pit for over the fire is one of those, you plug in the fire, can you put it lower? And basically you can frying pan on top of it, and here's the fire. And this is one nice little pan where you can take the handle out, what makes it small to take away in a bag. So the blacky smoothie stuff will stay in the inside of the bag and not on your equipment. So that's one other thing. Yep, back to you, Sid.
okay, thank you. So I quite like toast. So this is absolutely the best toaster that we've ever found. In fact, we've used it so much that Paul's had to put new mesh on the bottom. So it's made by Primus, and it folds completely flat and doesn't take up any room. That's fantastic. Stuff that I always take with me is Nalgene bottles. One thing that took me a while to work out was you need to take a bottle that's got measurements on it, because quite often you need to know exactly how much liquid you're putting into something, and if you haven't got that, you're guessing. So I like to rehydrate food in the wide top ones, and these ones usually carry liquid. Always carry loads of Ziploc bags and things like the platy pouches, because you can fold them flat when you're done. Recently we've come across these, which are collapsible sandwich boxes. They're supposed to be completely airtight, but they're not. They're not entirely trustworthy, but they are useful to a certain extent, in that you can store things in them and collapse them down when they're done. These came from a French supermarket, but you can get them in the UK now.
Sid, Ian,
Yeah.
how you find your presentation so he can share it, and he can say which slides you want to see if you want.
Sorry, say again?
Ian has the presentation ready for you if you want it.
I didn't really hear that.
The PowerPoint presentation you wanted, I can switch it on whenever you want.
Okay, thank you.
Especially the briquettes, how you want to use your briquettes on the Dutch oven.
Yeah, if you want to show that, we can talk about that.
Okay.
If you start sharing your screen, Ian.
Yeah, just give me a second.
Okay, wonderful, thank you. Yeah, so depending on your Dutch oven size and the temperature you want to achieve, these charts are all over the internet. I stole this from the internet, but I specifically took this one because it's got the temperatures in degrees centigrade as well as Fahrenheit. So for example, that I tend to do everything between 180 and 200. So the 10-inch for 180, you'd have 21 briquettes, 14 on the top, 7 on the bottom. So again, so fairly even split. And placement, you can see baking, broiling is roasting. Frying, you wouldn't have any on the lid. They'd all be on the bottom. Spread them around the outside for baking, and for frying, obviously, you want your heat directly underneath you. But so these pictures are all over the internet and quite easily available. Okay, thanks, Ian.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So this trusty Ortlieb washing up bowl, I don't know that they make them this size anymore. This one's, what, 30 years old?
At least that.
It does have a small leak, but this one's been all over the world, and use them for washing up. I use them for mixing bread, pretty much anything, washing feet, washing people. Boiling water sorts 99% of things out. But the thing that I really love is that, again, it folds down to absolutely nothing and lives quite happily in my kitchen barrel. The new ones I think are a bit bigger than that, but this came from a French supermarket. A pop-up mixing bowl, again, quite useful, but not as deep. Anything else you want to add on that front, Vicky?
Yeah.
You've got the,
Yeah.
like the thing.
I will. Where are you?
Yeah.
That and Ziploc bags. Ziploc bags goes a long way.
Is that a 10-litre one, do you think?
And
So-
IKEA do a particularly robust Ziploc bag that's got a double seal on it, so they don't tear so readily. And for the couple of pence that they are, it's worth the
Yes.
investment.
Yeah, the original Ziploc bags are definitely the ones to go for.
Yeah, so a slightly bigger version, don't fold quite as flat as Sid, but for washing up, useful for all sorts of things. But again, you know, collapses down. So maybe not if you like work camping, but certainly better than taking a massive bowl with you.
This is our kitchen box.
Also, colander, I have a tendency to drain things just using a lid, which sometimes goes horribly wrong. So this is my emergency if it's if I'm not feeling brave. And again, it just sort of pops out. So yeah, quite handy. And these things all live. Let me see if I can just reposition this now. We have a camp kitchen. I have to look past the computer to see what I'm pointing at. So this is my kitchen, which folds away into that box. So all this stuff lives in there permanently. So it's kind of pots and pans, mixing bowls, you know, all the cutlery, colanders, down to sort of washing up stuff, all lives in there permanently. So we can kind of, you know, last minute, just shove that in the car and we've got everything we need. You know, all your herbs and spices live in here. So it's complete box ready to go at the drop of a hat. So that's quite
Yeah. And we have a very similar one, which is that one.
Let me find you.
Need to switch to you.
just spotlight Ian.
Okay, and that one on Facebook Marketplace, we found an amplifier transit case, went to IKEA, bought some of their pegboard, and as Vicky's just said, it gives us a ready-made kitchen cabinet with everything in little pouches and packs. There's everything from a collapsible kettle and mugs that you can make a brew in, through to herbs and sachets and stuff. Just ready to rumble all the time.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Thank you.
Thanks, Ian.
I don't know how far people want to go. I got our water filter out. We spent a long time choosing water filters. And we had a different one before this, but it was too difficult to pump. But the best thing about this one is the bottom. I've just broken it. The bottom fits the wide mouth and the narrow mouth Nalgene's directly onto it, so I can filter water straight into bottles. Because you have to be really, really careful not to contaminate your water or anything that's going to come into cooking.
And Oatly, we've just done a new one, Sid, that's very tiny, and it just fits onto the bottom of one of the Oatly water satchels. You leave it hanging in a tree, and it drips down through a filter. And it's, if you're going for a walk, it comes back. You've already got your water filtered. It saves an awful lot of pumping.
Because pumping gets very boring very quickly. Yes, no, that is brilliant. Thank you.
We have some
I'm sort of,
Sid, about
just-
kitchen box.
Yeah,
We
to
have
go
another
back to
one.
exhibition, this will actually cover the 4 of us if we go away. If we're lightweight, in here pretty much covers everything I need to prepare and eat meals for the 4 of us. So everything from fire lighting, herbs and spices, knives. There's chopping boards in there, all your serving things, graters. So that's another nice little one. You know, if you've got a massive big box in your car.
We use
no, we made one of those out of an old wash bag.
Wash bags, yeah.
we use the same. That kitchen goes with this pot and pans. Here's our washing up bowl, where the pans live in, and inside you will find drinking cups and also plates. Yeah.
So basically, with that little pouch and that pan, I can cook and cater for 4 people.
It's if you have small children, they want to eat quickly, and you don't want to look and hunt for everything. It needs to be concealed and compact. Yeah, and then the one kitchen bag is only so
And
long.
then a little mini one if you're going on your own. Exactly the same sort of equipment in there, but just a 1-man down to your sort of drying up cloth, and everything is all in there ready to go.
That's, by the way, an old towel.
Yeah,
We cut
not
up in
an old
pieces.
towel cut up, and I even hemmed it. Look, that was nice.
Those quickly drying
But
ones.
really easy to make if you've got, as Sid said, you know, wash bag. You don't need much to make these things yourself, and just add in the essentials that you need. That's a really easy one to think of. You're not straight around your kitchen trying to find all your bits every time you go camping. It's all there ready.
And put it in a pan or pot or whatever. Okay.
Yeah, the first trip we did in this country, I did what the Path of the Paddle said, and used a tea towel, and I hemmed it to put things in and tied it round the barrel, and it got filthy in the first hour, and it was a health hazard. So we never did that again. We tend to carry sea suds or the Coughlin's detergent, because it's camp suds, because it's biodegradable and you can use it anywhere, but obviously you wash away from your water source anyway. And boiling water is your friend. Also, again from Lakeland, because Lakeland are always very useful, they do flexi mats, so it's chopping boards that are completely flexible, and I usually cut them in half, so you can put them on a boat to do your chopping as well as on the floor. You can use all sorts of surfaces. Sorry, I apologise if you can hear my dog. She's not very well. Oh yeah. So we also, hygiene is really important. So I tend to carry antibacterial, antiseptic wipes for hands, and again a supply for the equipment, just to make sure everything's nice and clean. And when you finish with things, just make sure it's all washed really nicely and dried and put away safely and tidily. Anything else to add on that, Vicky?
Hang on, the spot myself.
Oh, scrubby.
Yeah.
Scrubby. My cast iron scrubby. My chainmail scrubby.
A other option, what I found interesting, is I'll try to share again a picture.
Things like the chainmail are great if you're doing metal work But as Mark occasionally tells us, Mark Gittos occasionally tells us, you have to be careful if you're using plastic, because if you scour it, you can end up with quite a poorly
Yes.
upset tongue.
This is a screen grant cloth. You can find it on the Leave No Trace website. But you can find something similar. What they do is, if you're cooking, you put it on the floor. So when you spill your food, you can take it away afterwards and put it in a safer place. Now, what you have to remember is some people on this call will go to remote areas, maybe like Canada or other places where animals are you don't want in your area. So sometimes it's a good idea to check and practice this kind of skills in just here in England or wherever you live. So when you do it in the outdoors, you know what you're doing and you know how to use it. There's always, with this kind of stuff, there's always a trip hazard. So it's the balance you have to take. Do I take care of the environment? Do I take care that the food is not staying where I shouldn't be there? So again, it's something interesting to think about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Ian was saying, we use quite often use just dog bowls as eating things when we're away, and we use old bits of kit mat to make bowl cozies. Otherwise, your food goes cold instantly in them. Yeah, so I think that's everything for me. Until we get to books.
Yeah, okay. About equipment, there are, of course, other things you could use. And one of the things we found quite interesting is the reflection oven. Of course, in a Dutch oven, you can cook yourself, but basically this is a reflection oven. So you make the fire in front of it, and the heat goes inside and bakes or makes whatever you want to cook. And in principle, it can fold flat, quite reasonably easy. They live inside if you want as well. And basically, that's an oven. Again, you can take maybe a whole, we started with a car and a trailer, and now we have a van, and probably we have a van and a trailer. But yeah, it's fun. But again, try them out if it works for you, if it's something you want to do, instead of buying everything. Now, we like cooking, so we don't mind investing in those things, but it's not something, well, I will say this is a must-have or something. Again, find what you want to do, and ask people who know. If you know, like we have it, come and borrow it and use it and have a go. If it is nothing for you, don't buy it. Find something else. Yeah. Any questions so far on pots and pans? And maybe if you can use. There are messages coming in. Have a look.
Someone's asking Sid if she made the chainmail herself.
No, I got it from Mr. Amazon.
Yeah. A other important thing for aluminium, especially the cast iron aluminium lid, if you want to use it to frying. Can I have the pen there? No, the other one. For a Dutch oven, you can use one of these. You can grab the lid with it as well, but you can use it to put your pot or pan or lid on it and put it in the fire. But the problem with aluminium is it can melt. So if your heat is too hot, and especially this is another metal in it, it can break. And I think I saw Mark Gittos made a comment about it. He said, make sure you use somebody else's.
Yes.
A other lid holder we found recently, maybe that is better. I will go to another screen. Vicky, can you screen? Is put your screen. Is this Dutch oven. Basically, this is what you can buy nowadays. You can use it to put it away. You can also use it upside down. And you can even make a fire underneath it. In this one here, you can make a fire. I think I posted it not long ago on Facebook, but I will try and put it again on Facebook so you can see it in use. It is quite handy because you could basically put your pan on top of it as well. So it is hot and you can use a table or whatever in a picnic bench and don't burn everything. It's interesting and it all fits in one of the pans. Okay.
Let's see if anyone got any questions on stoves and things.
Does it collapse? Somebody asked Mark Jan.
Yes. Well, you can fold it in. Yeah. Straight this way, in, and there you go. It comes also with a griddle if you want, and that griddle you can use inside your pan to simmer vegetables on it if you want. So it's quite versatile equipment.
There's nothing worse when you're away having to scrub and scrub and scrub because you've got something stuck to the bottom of a pan.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be said nowadays with Teflon and silicon that you can just cut to the bottom of your Dutch oven shape, and all of a sudden that is just removable and cleanable really easily, and it saves you having to take the top layer off your aluminium Dutch oven, because there is a link that suggests that, remember when we were all younger and in scouts and guides and stuff, people used to scrub their pans to within an inch of the life to make them shiny. It's the aluminium oxalate on the top surface that's been linked to Alzheimer's. So don't scrub your aluminium to make it shiny, you'll make yourself poorly.
Yes.
The cast iron, in principle, you need to season. That's very important, that you have a good seasoning on the cast iron that protects from rust, but it also makes it more like a Teflon layer. The more layers, the better it becomes in age and time. If people are interested, I know a Facebook group I'm an admin from, and well, don't ask can you use soap in a Dutch oven, because then it starts.
Yeah, they do get a bit excited about that.
Yeah.
But this stack of pans here, this set of 3, these are 40 years old and in daily use. And they're very non-stick.
So, Sid, I don't think people have more questions about pots and pans. So let's move forward. Or do I miss something more for preparing a meal? I always ensure I have the correct cooking equipment and food when cooking. Claire, plan your cooking is very important. Are we doing that item as well? Planning?
Yeah, I missed quite a lot of that because you disappeared, but yeah, plan what you like to eat, I think essentially is the way to go, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look around the supermarket with different eyes. Things that you would never normally touch, like mashed potato powder, become a good friend. The pre-prepared bags of bread mix, you know, those are easy to take with you and there's no faffing, you just add water and make those. Packets of noodles.
Yeah, Sid, you're right. But when I plan my menu for the week, I work out exactly what menu I'm going to have, then work out what ingredients I need, then put them all together in zip bags and etc. But when I come to cook on the night, I make sure all the equipment I need is there at my hands before I start thinking about cooking, and also all the ingredients are there together. So everything's at hand, I can get on with it. Then I can, if anyone's helping me, I can allocate them jobs as and when.
Thanks. Okay. Next item, Sid, what would you like to talk about now?
Do we briefly want to say when because we all dehydrate stuff.
Yeah.
We certainly started off dehydrating whole meals, and we found very quickly that they just all taste the same very quickly. So now we dehydrate cooked mince, onions, dried carrots, and we bag them all separately. And like the person who was speaking before, you bag them into meal bags, but separately, so that it's all there ready to go. And then again, when you get there and that's not what you fancy, you've certainly got the ingredients to move on with something else.
We can show a dehydrator we are using. I think you have a similar one.
Yeah, ours is the same as yours.
It's a Harvest Made. I think it's not existing anymore. It's Easy Dry, I think it's called. I will put on some links where people can find some more information. And there is another nice podcast from the Outdoor Station where he discussed more about dehydrating. Basically, you have layers of, this is the machine where the heat comes from, and it's not very hot, so it goes maximum to 60 degrees. Then you have trays you can build up, you can put in what you want, food, flowers, or whatsoever. If you're afraid it will fall down, you can use one of those mesh sheets, or even, are they in here? No. Or if you want to make a leather, like a sweet, you can have those Teflon, so yogurtly stuff or muesli bars you can pour in, and it dries, and then you get all.
Can't hear you very well, Mark Jan.
And then you put the lid on, takes it, and it runs. You don't need one of those machines to start drying. You can use your oven. Leave the oven door a little bit open. Put your food on the plate, 50 degrees Celsius. It's very low, and keep an eye on it, and see how it works for you. Yeah. Was there a question? I heard somebody talking, but it was.
Yeah, we said we couldn't hear you very well when you were away from your computer.
There's no volume on this one.
Ah.
But it worked. We could hear you okay.
Not the gist of it.
That's all right.
Okay.
And in the way of these things, we've all got lots of books about it as well, which give you ideas for menus and things. I've only got 2 Dutch oven books here. Mine are all out on loan. But again, easily available. But these days you can get just as many recipes online as you can from books. But the backpacking books are generally quite good at giving you ideas for meals and menus.
We will post some other books as well on the Facebook. I took some pictures. You want to share them now, Vicky? Or no, leave it. We do it later because we don't want to make it too long.
No. That's everything from me.
Yeah. Looks good. Any questions, people? If you want, you can unmute yourself, come in, but one at a time, or write down your question and I will ask the question on your behalf.
One of my observations, Mark Jan, for people as they're thinking about multi-day tripping, is think about the occurrence of fresh food and how long you can keep it fresh for. So if you wanted burgers on the first night, that's doable. You wouldn't want them festering in the bottom of a food barrel till day 5 or 6, especially if they were pork or chicken. So you have to think about the durability of fresh food, and the same with vegetables. Some vegetables, like carrots, for example, will last a long time. Soft fruits, soft vegetables don't. And there's nothing worse than building up to a glorious meal that you've had planned on day 8 to fish it out of a dry bag to find that there's none of it left because it's just a mush in the bottom of a barrel.
Yeah, and make sure that you label absolutely everything with permanent marker. Otherwise, you've got strange things lurking at the bottom of bags and you've no idea what they are. You could end up with a very odd meal.
Yeah.
One little tip for people if they're using aluminium pans on an open fire and know how filthy and black they get. To save hassle cleaning them, cover the outside with a very, very thin film of washing up liquid.
Yeah.
You do that and it'll clean off so much more quickly.
You can do it with every pan, actually.
Yeah, I have never tried it with a cast iron Dutch oven, so on the outside, because I tend to season the inside and the outside of those.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, thanks, Neil.
It's we call it groene zeep, green soap or golden soap. It's very thick. You just rub it around it, and then you all tea bag. But only Pete Stroud is not allowed to hear this because we have tea bags, but not when he's around. You can then scrape actually the whole pan and clean it, and with an old tea bag, so a used tea bag,
Yes.
clean it. Works perfect. Works a treat. How long does dehydrated meals last? Depending how you keep them. If you keep them dark and airtight, you can keep them very long. And I know people even put them in the freezer. So
And things like dried fruit, I dried a load in the summer, the beginning of the summer, so it's probably about June time, and that's still going strong. It lasts for ages and ages.
The best way to rehydrate the fruit is in whiskey.
Yes.
Right at the beginning, Sid, you were talking about using a cool bag. If you ever want to use a cool bag, or you get all these proprietary freezer blocks and things like that, forget
Yes.
them, fill a bottle with salted water, which freeze that. That will stay frozen for a heck of a long time, and then
Yes.
you can just throw it away when it's done.
Yeah, I try to make sure that all the food is frozen that goes in there as well.
When I'm preparing, I've got a vacuum sealer at home, so I'll portion things up, maybe bacon, ham, and so on in a vacuum sealer, and then it just keeps it sealed and it'll last a little bit longer.
yeah,
When I go to Scotland in May, I use a double freeze everything. So zip bag, chicken breasts, freeze them down. Then, as Neil said, use another bag, fill it with salt water, put the chicken breast in there, and freeze it again. And that's still frozen in Scotland for 5 days at least.
and if you want to have no more information about dehydrating, I put a website and I spelled it wrong. It is actually canat.be. That's Peter Stocks and Armelle van der Howard. They are very, very good in giving this kind of courses. I will also have some books where you can read about, but they are very, well, actually on top of it. And yes, you can dehydrate meat. It's very good. Jerky is one of the things people actually use for drying food and everything. We will try to make a little bit of jerky this week. Little videos I will post it in, and next Sunday you can see us eating it. Hopefully the result is.
Mark, can I just make a point about food preservation?
Yes.
It can be an art form.
Yep.
On the Colorado, the rafting outfitters for many years now have used giant cool boxes with layers and layers of ice, and the food defrosts by day, and they dictate the meals as it defrosts. They've had so many years of practice. They're brilliant at it.
Yeah, well, they line them with slabs of dry ice with another cool box inside. I think it was 5 days into the Colorado, we were still having frozen margaritas.
I hate you sometimes, Sid.
I know, but I do love you, really.
Going back to dehydrating, if anybody's lucky enough to have a Rayburn or an Aga, use the bottom oven.
That
Yeah.
works.
Yeah,
I think
So
all
we
of those
have-
things work well. Anything that's going to preserve and extend the life of food is a good idea. So Gordon was saying about taking chicken. My preference these days is to cook the chicken before I leave, so I haven't got all those risks of tummy bugs and things, and freeze the cooked chicken, so it's not quite the same risk. I do get a little bit obsessive around food hygiene. And if anybody's never done a food hygiene course and you're going away, it's one of those things that for the sake of a day's training with a whole group, it's well worth it. The learning you will never regret.
Yeah, we found that the best thing to dehydrate meat-wise is mince. Nothing else really works very well. But things like the Mattison's U-shaped sausage is long life and doesn't need to go in a fridge. And it now comes in 3 or 4 varieties. You can do an awful lot of that with pasta. That goes a long way. It's a case of looking around the supermarket differently.
And also, when you look around the supermarket, there's nothing wrong with looking for other equipment. So you see the aisles in the middle of Aldi and Lidl. It's surprising what you see, and you think, oh, that's adaptable. I could use that. Silicon is a very transferable material these days for the outdoors.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a small point about some of the makeup of some of the items we've been talking about. Bear in mind that if you're doing a wilderness trip, things like wipes and silicone, etc., make sure you take it all home with you because it's not biodegradable.
Yeah, into a baggie.
People like dehydrated fruits, box of dehydrated fruit, still crunchy as you can hear, and that was probably the beginning of last year, and that's still absolutely fine.
Just don't give it all to Zoe Edbrook.
And
It's on recording. What you say can be held against you.
and as you know, Neil, if you get the tins of mandarin oranges, you can dehydrate those, and they are just a little burst of fantasticness.
Yes, but not with the amount of alcohol that you put in them.
Right. If there are any other questions, please put them in the box now. Otherwise,
I've got one very quick one for Sid. Right at the beginning, Sid, you mentioned these flat pack sort of Tupperware click boxes.
Yeah.
What make are they?
Lots of them, Neil.
Seen any? Not the flat pack ones.
Yeah.
These ones,
I can't. Yeah, the one that you showed right at the beginning. Yeah.
the silicone ones.
Yeah.
They came from a French supermarket, but I've seen them on Amazon. I'll have a look and let you know, Neil. I'll put a link up.
All right. Thanks, my love.
why is it not? I want to share something, but it doesn't.
Can I say something too? I
Yes.
have these, and they are from Tupperware. They've been forever. They fold down like that small with a lid, and then you can open them the same way, but they are actually airtight. So, but I don't know if Tupperware makes them anymore, but they are brilliant for making bread and stuff. So they work really well, and they pack down to nothing
Brilliant.
as well.
No, they're good.
Can you show it again, Danielle? Can you show it again and speak so you're
Yes.
on the camera?
So
and
they-
it will be
so-
recorded.
So that's the lid, and it stores like this, but then you open them up the same way. The only thing they are round, it would be better if they're not round. And then this is the big one, and there's also a smaller one that fits inside. Can you see?
And they are
And
Tupperware.
the brand is Tupperware, and they are tight, like they are airtight. It works really well.
Thank you.
Neil, you were saying about tubs and where you can get them from. That's typically what Sid was just showing you, but they
Yeah.
also do these that pop out. So, you know, when we've got flies around on a campsite, being able to put all your nibbles, your nuts, your olives, whatever, into that, that will also go into your...
They don't last long enough to get into one of those.
Well, apparently I was due recently, but I don't know what that's all about. But yeah, the best place we've found for them, Neil, is actually Amazon. Next
Okay.
to no money.
Thank you.
Okay.
Somebody was asking about coffee making, Mark Jan.
How long do you have? How long do you really want to spend on that? I will have Sunday showing up all my coffee making stuff.
We could be gone for some time then.
And
A very long time.
long time.
We need to have coffee to stay awake while you do it, do we?
I would prefer you have something. I think you need something stronger. But yeah, mine, I use always fresh coffee and a grinder. It is a little bit more bulky maybe for people, but I prefer my coffee strong with a bit of milk and sugar, and in the mornings to wake up. And yeah, I think it makes my day, and therefore it's important to have that.
I know you can get coffee bags these days, but in the past I used to use coffee filter paper, put a couple of spoonfuls or whatever into a coffee filter, and then tie it up with dental floss or something like that. And there you had a tooth. Then you had your own homemade coffee bags.
Yeah.
I think nowadays with the advent of cheap stainless steel cafetières, we've moved past needing a lot of consumable stuff.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we talked about for the group was if there are any things that are popping into people's minds that you want to develop your thinking, share some ideas about. We talked about maybe doing some action learning between now and when we do the practical session. So if there's anything that people want to understand more about, we can always get together in small huddles of people and come back to the bigger group in a week or so's time. So are there any, I'll use the word advisedly, any hot potatoes in the things that we've just discussed that you think, oh, well, I wish I knew more about that, and we'll just take a couple of conversations offline away from the group?
Dutch oven, I'd be interested in knowing more about Dutch oven cooking.
Okay.
Okay, on Sunday, Faye, I'm going to be cooking potato nachos and a cake in the Dutch oven in the garden.
Lovely, thank you.
And there are some really good Dutch oven cookery books, Faye. One of them that I think it was you, Mark Jan, that suggested this one is Woodland Ways do a really good Dutch oven cookery book.
Okay.
It's got all sorts of really interesting breads and cakes and stews and things. I've sort of fished out quite a lot from there, including curries and enchiladas and all sorts of nice stuff. So
right.
I can take a photograph of the front cover and ping it over if you want.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
I've also got this one for Poikis, which I got in Zimbabwe. And I've put the ISBN number on the chat if anybody wants it.
Lovely.
That's also got bread and things in as well.
Yeah.
Can you make a picture out of it and then post it on the Facebook event?
Yes,
That may be easier. I will do the same with my books. I just put a link in, feedback and comments. There's a Google Doc. If you just use that documentation, you can give some feedback about tonight, but also ask questions, and everything will be together. Very simple about coffee making. This one is a filter you can use for coffee. This is a typical Dutch way of making coffee. You put it in a bottle, you put your grounded coffee in, and about £6 with IKEA. But this is more for bigger groups.
Yeah.
And Lauren wants more about dehydrating things. Yes, we can have a look and come back on that Sunday, or we can also set up another evening again in 4 weeks' time about this.
Yeah.
And then we can say we go into detail about dehydrating or Dutch cooking or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. Are there any more questions? anything somebody wants to share what is related to tonight?
Yeah, just a big thank you really to everyone who's been involved. You've obviously gone to a lot of effort to get everything together. So from the whole group, I'm sure that everyone would want to say thank you very much.
Thank you.
Especially you having your tarpon up inside the house. Must be wet there.
Yeah,
Keep the kids occupied. Tied in the corner.
that's what we call homeschooling. All right, I will stop the recording and then people can talk whatever they want to talk about because it cannot be held against you then. I thank you again. As I say, I will put on Facebook more events. I can recommend on Wednesday evening the outdoor station. He has got really interesting topics, and of course on Thursday evenings is with Dave. He's doing pedal chats, and I put it all in the chat, those links. So have a go and have a look. Right, thank you very much. I will stop the recording, and if you want to leave and want to go home, you're more than welcome. Cheers, everybody. Thank you.